Well, here's a new one. I've got a couple of these Wegener iPump 6420 receivers in. They're junk. They're not usable with the satellite carriers anymore because they changed the protocol and whatnot. So what they've got is a mini ITX board, sort of a non-standard setup. Well, I don't know if it's mini ITX. It looks the same size and shape as mini ITX. Let's see, we got a measuring thing here. Not a big enough one. Oh yeah, maybe. Alright, so you got like 5 3/4 inches on the side and 5 3/4 inches on the other side. So it's like 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. Don't see an obvious manufacturer on this thing or a part number, unless that's it. TDN T00421. I don't know if that's a part number or what. Anyways, it's got a little bit of RAM in it. It's 256 meg. As I recall, it's a 1 gig or a 1.2 gigahertz. Pretty sure that's an AMD. And you've got a bunch of the relays here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 16. That says 16 relays on a channel. And each of these relays go to one of these output ports, and that's how the broadcast stations that use these satellite receivers for radio stuff can pick up their when they're supposed to play the commercials and the IDs and stuff. The interesting part about this is the only thing that's IDE, it looks like, is just this adapter for this compact flash here. It runs Linux. I think it's Red Hat or Fedora or whatever they changed it to. Everything else is USB. Interestingly, it's got a tuner built. Well, actually, 3 tuners really. These are the satellite tuners. Microtune 1384 WFC, and times 2, of course. And there's the FM AM broadcast tuner. Now, the interesting part about that is it's entirely USB. Everything in here is USB except for this compact flash card. The relays, the FPGA, or no, that's not an FPGA, that's a microcontroller, but that's USB. Everything is interfaced via USB. And it's got a watchdog that if it doesn't receive a signal from the motherboard in a certain amount of time through, I think, that microcontroller, it sends a reset signal to the motherboard. Now, being like a 1 gigahertz or a 1.2 gigahertz, it's not really that great of a thing, but it's still kind of a cool little board. The power supply is, whatever this says. I can't read that, the screen's too small and I'm old. Oh, wait a minute. MPI 810H. Sounds like a mean well. Takes 120 volts, or probably also 240. Turns it into what looks like just plain boring old PC setup here. That's ATX. Serial ATA drive. And the only thing that I don't think is USB is this front panel display. I think that's parallel, or serial or parallel, or it might be 2 different things. It's got an LCD. I think that's a regular Hitachi. I haven't messed with it too much yet. Got a couple of buttons and some LEDs on it. That USB is, of course, just an extension off the motherboard. Now, these have got some interesting audio components in them, in that it is a Burr Brown text instrument PCM. Oh, poop. Alright, go into macro mode here, kid. Yeah. Macro! Nope, never mind. Alright. Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's see if I can zoom. Anyway, there are, let's see, here's one. PCM2903E, as in Echo. PCM2903 Echo. And there should be another one over here. I believe that's the same one. No. That's something else. But I know there's a third one in here. Yep, there it is. PCM 2903. Yep, alright. There's at least 3 of the same PCM 2903s in here. I'm pretty sure. Well, there's only 2 audio outputs. 2 main audio outputs. And there's a third. Oh, I know what that is. So the 2 audio outputs are here. Those are analog. And there's a, it's got a converter thingy that goes to AES audio. Now the interesting part about this one, this codec, is it's for that. What they do is for compliance purposes, for proof of performance, they actually have a tuner in these receivers that they access over the internet, and they send themselves back the audio from your station from this tuner. And that's how they know that that's their proof of performance. That's how they know that you've aired their spots, their commercials, is that they actually can listen to your station. That's kind of interesting. So these 16 relays per port. This is a fairly standardized DB37 back here. Each one's got 16 relays, and each one of those relays can be one function, like it'll be your legal IDs at the top of the hour, or tells it when to play a local break, or it's a time synchronization pulse at the top of the hour, whatever you got. And 2 really obnoxious little fans here. And the fun part about these is the bad caps. I think part of the reason, well, the main reason they got rid of these is because they're not powerful enough to handle the new codecs that they switched to over the satellite. So everybody who had one of these had to switch to the new receivers and discard the old ones, which of course I love discarding the old ones because I get to tear them down and take the pieces out and make them stuff. But that's about it. Each one of these is a USB cable that goes to a different thing, and then they all go into the motherboard over here. That's it. I'll probably use this mini ITX board for something. I'm not sure if it's a mini ITX or almost mini ITX proprietary wacko thing, but whatever it is, it'll be cool. I haven't figured out how to make this board stop resetting the motherboard yet. If I can do that, it would be cool to have 2. These are halfway decent audio codecs, those PCM 2903s. I'd like to be able to use those separately, and maybe these tuners, although I can't use them on the satellite because it's all digital encrypted, and the satellite doesn't use the same protocol or the same codecs it used to use. They upgraded the codecs to fit more junk on the satellite. You know, they need to smash more stuff into the same bandwidth, because bandwidth is expensive. It's getting expensiver. What was that other thing I was looking at? There's another microcontroller on here. I don't know quite what that does. I think that almost looks like a ROM. I can't read the writing on it. It's too washed out. There's a bunch of regulators and stuff. Oh, yeah. Even the Ethernet adapters on here, those little A6 chips, those are Ethernet to USB. AX88772LF. Lima Foxtrot. Alpha X-ray 88772 Lima Foxtrot. Yep, same thing. I might also see if I can try to use this AM/FM tuner here. I don't know. Looks rather proprietary, like I might not be able to get the specs for it. These, actually I haven't been able to find the specs for these either. But, we'll see. Stuff turns up sooner or later. But keep your eye out for these things on the surplus market, because they're in the junk. Because they got some cool stuff in them. And they're a little bit old. You know, it's 1 gig or 1.2 gig AMD CPU in there, but I mean, you can use it for something. Make a little Linux box or whatever. Got 1 PCI slot. And if it's junk, if they're discarding it, if it's e-waste, it's cheaper than a Raspberry Pi too. Considering the fact that they went way up. So that's good. But, alright, well, that's it. Oh yeah, one more thing. It's also got a POTS modem, analog telephone modem. And it works. And that's also USB. That would be, well, I don't know if you could use that nowadays or not. I mean, I'm sure you could use it for something if you've got an analog telephone line around here somewhere, or a way to convert over to it. Maybe use it to make your BBS. I don't know. If you're interested, the microcontroller on here is a CY Charlie Yankee 7 Charlie 68013 Alpha. I'm all fancy and using phonetic alphabets and stuff. I don't know what that chip is, but it's too small I can't read it, even with the magnifier, because I'm old. Alright, well, that's enough of that. Just thought I'd show you this cool little thing that showed up in the e-waste, and there's a whole bunch of them. So, that is that. See you later.